Growing up, I had funky teeth. I'm talking borderline buck teeth with a fang situation on the sides. The funny thing is, I didn't recognize that my teeth were less than optimal. In fact, I didn't recognize a lot of things about myself. Looking back, I can see that my gangly arms could barely fit inside my neon t-shirts. My bowl cut was on point, and I could dance for hours on end. I was a happy child. I had a zest for life. In elementary school, a slow shift occurred. The soft tug of social norms taught me how to hide myself. And day by day, I learned how to listen to the outside world instead of myself. I remember a contributing moment. It was my 8th birthday, and I invited 2 friends over for cake. A present was given, a 3-way best friend necklace. One of the girls pulled me aside into the other room and said, "Carla, this present isn't for you. It's really for the other girl and I. See, you aren't cool enough, but it's your birthday, so my mom made me give it to you." Her words filled me up. I am not enough echoed in my body. It filled my fingers and toes. And for the first time, I looked in the mirror and I noticed my hair and my teeth and my clothes. And I started to collect clues to reinforce what I had heard. Trying to fulfill my enoughness became my main motivating factor. I wanted to know the answer deep in my core. Would I be enough for you? And so I suited up in armor to create a protective layer between the little girl inside of me and the outside world. My armor was a complex, gorgeous layering of defense mechanisms and distractions. Its weight was incredibly heavy and yet soothing at the same time. During the day, it was a knight's armor, holding my true self from peeping through the cracks. And by night, it was a soft blanket, soothing me from having to process the layers of emotions that I held tucked deep inside of me. While my armor was intact on the outside, it also cut through on the inside around my heart. Its core purpose was to protect me from having to listen to my inner voice, that inner voice that we all have. She was telling me that everything that was unique to me, and I was learning that everything that was unique to me was not enough, and so she was dangerous and had to be locked up. My armor fashioned as busyness and credentials. It started in high school as I would run from theater practice to cheerleading to AP homework at night and a soccer match on the weekend. And it continued in college and grad school as I'd run from a teaching assistant job to an internship and class and blogging at night. And naturally, I moved to New York City where my busyness neuroses fit in just fine. I worked 12-hour days, went to the gym, had happy hour with friends. I did everything. I filled my space, my plate, my time, my glass with everything so that I could tell myself that I was enough. And this worked very well. Until one day it did not work at all. And within 3 months, I had broken up with a boyfriend, lost my job, and had bed bugs in my apartment. Within a short amount of time, my social structures were off balanced. My income was wiped, and my home was in disarray. But what was most uncomfortable is that I was faced with what I had avoided all along: myself, my inner voice, and the silence to listen to her. Initially, the silence was stifling. My body could not produce any more tears. My parents and my friends felt helpless, and even I was frustrated with myself. And so I recognized that I had a choice in this time. I could pick my life back up and keep moving forward with my heart nestled in my armor, or I could start to unlayer piece by piece that armor, however temporarily uncomfortable that may be, and start to listen to my inner voice and build from there. Well, I didn't know where to begin, so I took the smallest of steps. I stayed present. I started reading about this. I started working with a coach, and within a matter of weeks, not much had changed, except several questions rose to the surface. The first being, why was the silence so uncomfortable? Why did myself and others struggle to live authentically? What were the societal forces that kept us from connecting to ourselves and each other? And what does living life without armor even look like? Finally, one question continued to rise, which was, what would it look like for women who consciously sought to better understand themselves? What if we did this together instead of on our own? And so I put a call out into the world. I said, I am not an expert. I am not a therapist. I am a human being who's navigating life's ups and downs, and I happen to like tea, and perhaps you do as well. So let's meet, and let's process the enoughs. The not good enoughs, the not smart enoughs, the not pretty enoughs, and the topics of fear and shame and anxiety that is powered by a society built on lack and scarcity. Let us be the antithesis to New York City, relaxing into our enoughness. Well, this call started Tea+Purpose, an organization I run that hosts tea gatherings for women in their 20s and 30s to connect with the truth beneath their armor. Monthly, we meet in small groups to discuss a particular topic, to expand the relationship with ourselves in community. This is a time where space is held for processing. It's an edifying experience where everyone can be a teacher and a student. And during tea, I'm continually reminded that my story is not unique, and the underpinnings of my desires are universal. We all have struggles. We all have seasons of pain, of grief, or a bed bug-like situation, and much worse. And we all have a choice. We have a choice to suppress, or a choice to start to listen to that inner voice. So as I gave myself permission to identify and release my armor, and as I continued to host tea gatherings, I noticed a key theme. That in the process of stepping into your authentic self, of believing in your enoughness and sharing that with the world, you will feel pain. Discomfort precedes expansion. Now, to some extent, we know this to be true in our daily lives. When we're working out, we say, no pain, no gain. When we're setting goals, we know that nothing great comes from comfort zones. But when it comes to alignment in our lives, so rarely do we point to the seemingly uncomfortable topic of our humanness. So rarely do we point to our own armor or fears or struggles, and we continue to act as if we've got it all together. And yet, we all desire expanded, fulfilled, open lives. We all want lives where we feel connected to ourselves, the community, and the world. And so a gap emerges where we desire fulfillment and alignment, and yet we can barely acknowledge our own humanness or our own armor. So today, I ask you to step into that gap and move beyond that initial pang of discomfort that is present when you act in ways that are true to yourself. I encourage you to start the process by identifying that you wear your own unique set of armor and taking steps to identify that and release it. Because in the discomfort of silence, you start to connect to yourself. In the discomfort of acknowledging your fears or your struggles, You expand and provide new opportunities for yourself. In the discomfort of opening up to a friend, you start the process of vulnerability and expanding what's possible in the relationship. In the discomfort of sharing a new idea with a group, you start the collaboration process. In the discomfort of starting a new project, you open yourself up to be of service in the world. In the discomfort of sharing your truth with a large group of people, you expand what you think is possible for yourself. And in the discomfort of uncertainty, births the opportunity of new beginnings. So today I leave you with this. We are all enough, despite what our past reminds us of. And if we can temporarily step into that moment of discomfort, of identifying and releasing our armor, we expand what's possible for ourselves and the world. Thank you.